Yeah, so I've been just consistently guiding the market that the DFS would drop in the first half of 2026. Now, I appreciate that's a 6 month period, and that guidance remains correct. But I guess what I can say is that we're not measuring that in months, it's being measured in days and weeks now. So it's imminent.
Hello, my name is Edwin Donella. I'm a principal of Chile Capital, and I have Lachlan Wallace as our first guest on our channel. Lachlan has been appointed as a MD to Investigator Silver, an ASX listed silver explorer, well, really a developer of Paris silver deposit in South Australia. Welcome, Lachlan. Thank you very much for taking the time today.
Yeah, thanks, Edward. Congratulations on kicking off the podcast as well. It's a great platform. Honored to be the first guest, and I wish you every success with it.
Thank you so much. Look, with Andrew McIlvaine retiring, the universe, it seems, has opened up the door for you to infuse your, seems like boundless energy into Investigator Silver. How are you going there?
Yeah, look, everything's been going really well. Really happy with the progress since I joined. Timing's everything. There's been really strong momentum over the last 6 months. It's been obviously helped by a very constructive silver market, and generally feels like we're just getting started. So I guess when I joined in 2025, Investigator had already a high quality silver asset in the Paris.
Oops.
It gives us a rare position as Australia's only pure play primary silver company of scale in a very strong mining jurisdiction. And really, the first priority has been about turning Paris from a resource into a credible development project. So, advancing a robust definitive feasibility study, so DFS, tightening the technical work, engaging early with regulators, and making sure the project is genuinely financeable as well as buildable. So, at the same time, Paris is sitting within a large 15-kilometre silver corridor. So we've been really careful not to lose the exploration momentum and upside whilst we're progressing towards the development of Paris. So discoveries such as Athena, which I'm sure we'll speak to as we work through the podcast, really show that the Paris isn't an isolated occurrence. And I guess the other piece we've been really working out is basically cleaning up some of the portfolio, sharpening the company's focus around silver. We've divested non-core assets, including the Molly Hill tungsten project for up to $3 million. And prior to that, the White Spur tin asset in Tasmania, as well as the Stuart Self project in South Australia, in both cases retaining some trailing royalties. So I guess that strategic refocus is also why we've changed the company name to Investigator Silver from Investigator Resources. And it's about really clearly reflecting what the business is now focused on, simplifying that story and putting, I guess, the emphasis really squarely on silver. I've also been pretty deliberate about preparing the project for financing. So we put together a $10 million placement, institutional placement in October. And that was really part of bringing in a high quality institution group to our register ahead of development and the funding phase. So yeah, look, I'm really pleased with how it's been going, but I'd really describe, I guess, the past year as laying strong foundations rather than chasing headlines. And the share price performance really reflects, I guess, growing confidence, not just in a strong silver market, but in how the company has been repositioned. Over that period, last 6 months, investigators actually outperformed both the silver price materially, as well as all of our ASX listed sort of silver equivalent peers. And I think that speaks to the strategic clarity and execution rather than just momentum on silver price alone. So I guess for me, the real work is just about positioning Investigator to become a credible silver producer and not necessarily just focusing on that day-to-day share price movement.
Can we, well, it's first of all, in my mind, it seems like nobody has any silver around. That's the going narrative on YouTube, at least, with the price going up. So some commentators, like Michael Oliver, for instance, is quite respected in technical analyst circles. He says that silver has broken out into a new reality. So my question regarding the DFS, would that have figures for, $100 Australian per ounce silver levels and higher, so people can get an understanding of how profitable the project is?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. In terms of price input for the DFS, it's actually still, undecided. We've based the optimization on a $70 Aussie price, but we'll definitely be having a higher price than that going into the feasibility study. I mean, what's important is that the optimization study that came out in December last year, so only about a month ago, really highlighted that the project itself isn't very limited. Well, sorry, the project itself is very robust at silver prices. So what we're seeing here is basically a pit that will not change in its design metric, even if the price continues to go higher. It's effectively becoming maximized in terms of its resource extraction at any sort of price point. And that's important because what it basically gives us is the confidence to lock down the design, work through basically the design as well as the permitting work streams, such that we can work forward towards development and production as soon as we can.
And I think you mentioned in one of your presentations early on that your goal is to pour silver as soon as possible. Everyone's excited about it. And I think you mentioned 2027, the end of it, or beginning of 2028. Is that correct? Or can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so we're basically targeting a final investment decision in calendar year 2027, and that'll follow then with the construction process. I wouldn't expect there to be silver pour in 2027. It'd be more likely to be 2028. And I think that reflects a disciplined and realistic development pathway.
Yes, of course. And because sometimes for somebody like myself, who is obviously not well versed in engineering of mining projects as much as yourself, we lose track of these things sometimes, and we think, oh, it's just around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a permitting process to work through, as well as then final investment decision and then the construction phase. There are some things we can do to put those into parallel, and that's definitely what we have been doing with the permitting running parallel to the DFS, and then we'll be looking at some of that early development work that we can do ahead of permitting being finalised, so that we can basically concatenate this entire process and get to first silver pour as quickly as possible.
Regarding the finances, how are you, like, we're raising this $10 million, and now have you seen any of the option holders already converting their options because they're so deep in the money already? And how is that coming through into your finances and confidence for the future to have enough money?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we've got about 19 or a bit over $19 million of in the money options. So strike price 4.2 cents. We're currently trading 15 cents or thereabouts. So people have been exercising. We're seeing more on that. And that obviously brings in some non-dilutive capital and shifts liquidity towards the headstock, which also then improves trading volume and assists in that price discovery to the upside. So, I mean, the more people that convert, from my point of view, the better. The easiest way to do that conversion is to contact our company secretary or to go through ComputerShare to be able to provide or get the forms that then can be filled out, as well as effectively the banking instructions. So all that information I think has been sent to shareholders, but if it's been lost, which I appreciate it can happen, ComputerShare or just contacting us at the info line is the easiest way to do it, and I'll seek to get some information up on the website about how people can go about exercising those options.
I look at a lot of comments from the shareholders or interested people on hot copper, and everyone's talking about the DFS. They can't wait to get their hands on that copy. How soon do you think that is going to come out? Or, I mean, surely you don't have to disclose anything that is not allowed to be disclosed, but maybe some kind of indication.
Yeah, so I've been just consistently guiding the market that the DFS would drop in the first half of 2026. Now, I appreciate that's a 6-month period, and that guidance remains correct. But I guess what I can say is that we're not measuring that in months. It's being measured in days and weeks now. So it's imminent. It's close. I'm only really waiting on one input that was a little bit delayed over the Christmas period, and then we can finalise the entire document review and then put that out. So we're really in the final stages, and really looking forward to getting that out as soon as we can, because it enables us to just step away from talking about effectively a study, the pre-feed study, which was very robust, but it is 5 years old and done under $22 US price point, whereas we're now trading north of 90. So it obviously has some material changes associated with it. Included with that is obviously the water, discovery of long-term water supply,
Yes.
and that also enables us to obviously change from a dry filtered tails arrangement towards a wet tails, which reduces capital, reduces operating costs, and just makes the whole thing easier to get up and running.
Easier and simpler, I guess. Um, and everybody also, I have to ask about Curnamona drilling. Has it started or has it ended? And is it already sent the the drill samples to the lab?
Yeah, sure. So maybe for the update, I'll just give you an update on what Curnamona is for maybe those that aren't familiar. But Curnamona basically an early stage exploration target, great jurisdiction, surrounded by known copper and gold deposits. So that includes Kakaroo and Mutooroo, which Sandfire recently earned into, as well as the White Dam gold mine, which is literally across the other side of the highway. There's historical gold and copper mining on the lease, but many of the large targets that we've been testing have never been drilled. In fact, all of them have never been drilled. And we're seeing coincident IP, magnetic, gravity, soil anomalies, which is exactly what we want to see for a large copper porphyry opportunity. So drilling did commence last year, but it did pause when we basically broke off for Christmas, as well as annual rig maintenance. And that drilling will recommence in a couple of weeks. So we haven't got any assay results that we've sent. We haven't actually sent any off to be assayed. We'll complete that program in February, send it all off, and then get all those results together and report that back to market. And then straight after that, the rig will actually move to Paris and start to test areas both in and around the pit that we've identified might become viable as the silver price continues to rise, but they've been sort of under drilled. So I want to go and see whether they can add to what is the current resource base. As well as then continue to chase some of those areas within that 15-kilometre long sort of Paris silver corridor. So, to date, we do have quite a large silver system that we think we've got there in and around Paris, and very keen to get on with starting to drill out. So for Curnamona, drilling has started, did break for Christmas. We're back into that in the next couple of weeks, and that program will conclude in February, and then we'll get those assays off and get it done and get it out to market. And in the meantime, over to Paris and get on with the drilling.
That sounds very, very, very cool. I have a little picture that I grabbed off one of your presentation slides. Basically, it's just showing your Paris silver corridor. And how do I share it? Sweetie, you can, because we'll edit it out. Sorry.
You're all right, mate.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. So, okay, so that's just a picture of the silver corridor, and you have the Athena that's been magnified with the mystery cousin next door to Athena. So, have you actually named it yet?
To me, I think it's just all part of Athena. To be honest, I mean, if we're mining one, we'll mine the other. Maybe just explaining what Athena is. Athena is a part of an asset which sits on some land that we entered into a JV with Alliance Resources. It was drilled back in 2012 by a group called Trafford. It was drilled for iron ore. Effectively, where Athena is, where those drill holes are on the left-hand side of that image you got on the screen there. That's basically an outcropping magnetite body. So 2012, Trafford drilled that for iron ore. Once they passed through the magnetite body, which is very clear in the drilling, drilling stopped, and the holes were never initially sampled for silver. After the discovery at Paris, some of those holes were then reassayed by Trafford, and many actually ended in silver mineralization. There's some great hits through there, including intercepts like 5 meters at 493 grams of silver per ton. But then that early drilling program, was really quite basic. As I said, Trafford basically walked up to the outcropping magnetite drill body, drilled it, and then what we have seen, as you've shown on that picture there, is that there's been some subsequent magnetic surveys that have identified a body right next door with an identical mag signature, but it's never been drilled, and that's because it was slightly undercover. It's not outcropping at surface. And then more recently, we've done some gravity surveys. So what they're aimed at doing is to basically understand the structure in a better way so we can target the drilling around silver mineralization. But what they also showed was, which is not on the image there, but just sitting south of Athena is quite another large body, which we've named Hestia, just keeping in line with the Greek mythology sort of motif that we've had through that whole area. Is a large area called Hestia, and we're looking forward to drilling both those areas in 2026. So part of that gravity work there just assists in that drill hole targeting, and we're working through now effectively the environmental permitting process to be able to get on those and drill them. So when we go over to Paris, we'll start drilling in and around Paris more so after Curnamona, and then we'll seek to get on to Athena and Hestia.
Wow, this is really. I have to disclose that I do have a large position in options in IVR, and I'm really super excited and chuffed that things progressing in such orderly and consistent fashion. And I want to thank you again for today for coming and talk about this, as well as your future endeavors. Lachlan, thank you. You're a star.
I appreciate it.
And so the next few months really is, we look forward to, just to summarize, you said that it's reasonable to expect within the next few months to look forward to the DFS, as well as eventual results from Curnamona and further drilling to be done on the Silver Paris corridor.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So DFS will come out, in short shrift. We'll get the results from Curnamona, results from Paris when it's done. In between all of that, there'll also be some of the soil and gravity works that were done in around Morgans, which is about 80 kilometers east of Paris, and we're looking at potentially to set up as a hub and spoke sort of model for the Paris plant, and we'll be looking at effectively designing a drilling program in and around Morgans to follow up on some work that was done there a few years ago with regards to some early stage drilling, one of which returned about 12 meters, 240 grams per ton. So plenty to follow up on in the region. And all that information will be out over the course of the next 4 months or so in terms of the ongoing drilling. And then through the year, we'll continue to drill predominantly in and around Paris, depending on the results that we see at Curnamona, potentially another drilling program back in at Curnamona. And then we'll just basically continue to roll out those drilling results throughout the year as more information becomes available.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much again for your time today, Lachlan, and permission to touch base later in the year to see how you're going.
Yeah, no, thanks, Edwin. Happy to come back anytime. There's obviously a lot happening at Investigator Silver, so in the next 12 months should be pretty interesting. So, look forward to seeing what those options look like in 12 months' time.
Well, I do have secret ideas, but we won't talk about it just now.
Very good.
All right.
Thanks, Edwin. Cheers, then.
Bye-bye.
All right.